All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And you guys remember when XDefiant released about 4 or so months ago? And it released with a big mistake. And we covered that big mistake for long before the game came out on this channel. And I'm pretty sure other content creators of all sorts of sizes covered it too. However, that mistake was corrected within a few weeks after the game releasing. So what exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about that Team Deathmatch was released about 3 or 4 weeks, if memory serves correct, after the game launched. And that was the thing that we said that before launch, you guys got to have it at launch. But thankfully, better late than never. However, that's not exactly the mistake that I want to talk about today, because there's still a mistake that has happened ever since the launch of XDefiant that still has yet to be implemented. So what mistake am I talking about? I'm talking about XDefiant being on Steam. Now, obviously, to me, it's purely egotistical in a sense when you know that everybody that has a PC pretty much has a Steam account, if not the vast majority of players that play any sort of game whatsoever. Chances are they have a Steam account. As a matter of fact, when I got my PC about a couple of years ago, one of the first things I did is I made a Steam account. And yes, I bought a handful of games from there, both old and new. And I was browsing like crazy left and right, looking for all sorts of games and stuff like that. It was a good time. But basically, I guess you can say Steam is definitely like the main source of games for so many PC players, right? Obviously, when Call of Duty, like when you look at Call of Duty, when when they wanted to go multi-platform or whatnot, starting with Modern Warfare 2019 in terms of crossplay, one of the things that they did was they had it on Battle.net instead of Steam. A lot of people were hoping for Steam, but then they did Battle.net and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and then you guys obviously in the comment section as well as on streams, shout out to Streamtown, by the way, you guys have expressed to me that Ubisoft Connect is just, there's just a lot of problems with it or whatnot. So the desire to have this game on Steam is very high for the people that are playing the game, as well as the fact that that it is just such a no-brainer. But obviously, it's an egotistical thing. Ubisoft probably prefers to keep things under their own type of brand and stuff like that. And on top of that, they're probably worried about revenue share to the point to where it's like, okay, it's probably 70-30 to where Ubisoft keeps the majority of the profits at 70% while splitting it with 30% onto Steam because they're releasing on the Steam platform as well, right? But here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure, especially at this point right now, I bet you Ubisoft might be thinking, well, maybe 70% of something was better than 0% of nothing, right? However, I do believe that XDefiant should release on Steam. However, before you guys decide to eat me alive when I'm about to say this, I don't think it needs to release on Steam right now. Not right now. Okay, now let me start at the beginning before you guys decide to judge. So obviously, when XDefiant came out, the player base was good for like what, a month or so, give or take, and then things started to go down, and then things have started to go way lower than that. And right now, I guess you can say arguably that XDefiant is nowhere near to where it used to be in terms of concurrent player count as well as unique player count, right? I think we can all agree on that, even though we don't have the exact numbers. I think everybody with at least half a brain can agree with that, right? Okay, now why did that happen? The reason why that happened was because the game is missing, to this day, important features, important settings, as well as content and a lot of very basic staples that are in first-person shooters today. In other words, the game is very bare bones, at least for now. It's working on getting better. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It will eventually get there as long as it keeps getting the financial support. Okay. Now, getting back to what I'm saying, the game should not, if it is to be released on Steam, and if Ubisoft is thinking about releasing the game on Steam, it should not be released on Steam, in my opinion, until at least Season 3 at the soonest. And the reason why I say Season 3 is because at Season 3 is when we're going to get a lot of these features that are still missing from the game, that are still not going to be at season 2, such as prestige, additional settings. We're going to go into full-on private matches in terms of getting out of beta, the way the XP works, the way the progression works, in-game currency system that is rumored to be coming out. The list goes on. If you want to look it up, you can just look at the new year 1 roadmap, and on top of that, you can do additional digging, and I'm sure you'll find more that's coming, right? And so far, everything that is rumored to be arriving so far has come to fruition in accordance to the information that we've received. So again, if you do some digging, you can definitely find more bits and pieces of info. Now, it shouldn't happen until season 3 if it is to get released, because all of these things, if Ubisoft has learned anything, right, is that when you get players, it's not just important to get them for a short period of time. It's about keeping them and maintaining them, right? And you got to keep their interest. And the way you do this is by adding in not only staples that are in so many other first-person shooters with your own version of them, of course, like a progression system and things like prestige, the way the challenges work, medals and stuff like that. Like all these are staples in so many first-person shooters today. So all these things need to be in there. And on top of that, the store also needs additional work. You know, the store, with all due respect, is very bare bones. And on top of that, let's be real. Some of the most expensive stuff you can get from the store, you know, looks pretty cool. But with all due respect, as of right now, in terms of where we are, as in terms of the time of this recording, which is Tuesday night, September 24th, 2024, I am saying right now, in my humble opinion, and other people have backed me up on this as well, is that a lot of things in the store are overpriced. Yes, I understand it's inflation, but at the same time, remember, this stuff is basically, these are cosmetics, right? So it's like you have to find a happy medium and something reasonable for people to pay for something like that. And on top of that, you shouldn't also rely on bundles, by the way. Giving you a few tips for the store. You shouldn't just rely on bundles. Let people buy pieces of something to where they can pay like, I don't know, like $3.99 for a piece or for a 2-piece or something like that. Something reasonable of price that they will use, because I'm sure for people that want bundles, I'm pretty sure that there's something in the bundle that they don't want, right? It'll come with 5 pieces. Like you'll get something for, like, let's say a shotgun skin, you might get an AR skin, you'll get a skin for your faction and stuff like that, or you'll get a sidearm skin. But again, some people may not use sidearms at all or anything like that. It means very little to them. Or some people don't use shotguns at all, or they don't use snipers, whatever. So it's like, okay, 1/5 of this bundle has no use to me, but I still paid for the whole thing anyway. You know what I mean? So anyway, and obviously more things in the store would be nice. I mean, I'm sure you could take plenty of ideas from different kinds of games out there. But with that being said, it's got to be reasonable in price. You know, I'm pretty sure some stuff that you guys got coming up is going to look really cool. I've taken a peek myself in terms of what's coming in season 2 as far as the cosmetics. It's only looking better, and I'm happy for that. But at the same time, again, if something is overpriced, especially in this economy, not everybody's going to pay for it. I mean, there's going to be a small percentage of people that are always going to pay for something. But you guys got to remember, you don't have the same kind of numbers that Call of Duty does. Okay? So again, this is where Ubisoft can do literally a 1-2 punch. Release the game on Steam at the earliest at season 3. And on top of that, make it so that way the store is very reasonable. You know what I mean? Not just in terms of prices, but also in terms of quality. You know what I mean? And let's be real here. Like all the stuff that you buy in terms of cosmetics when it comes to video games, obviously they don't change anything in the game, right? They just make things look better and stuff like that. Okay, cool. But you got to remember, these are basically exposable or expendable income, at least hopefully for most of us. At least I hope. I hope people don't go owing rent because they're paying for cosmetics, because that's just illogical to me. But you get my point here. Is that, you know, have it reasonable, and people with expendable income will spend a portion of their monthly expendable income, or however often, to treat themselves to something in game that'll make the game bling a little bit more. You know what I mean? That might enhance their enjoyment of the game, even if it is a cosmetic. But you got to make it reasonable. And at the same time, as you guys know, timing is everything. It's not just in video games, it's in everything, right? So in my opinion, in terms of content and everything else that I just mentioned in this video, if they release everything, if they release XDefiant on Steam in season 3, as well as having a store that is a lot more updated, upgraded, fixed, and reasonable in terms of price and quality that has been increased as well at the same time, and something that's a good deal and not just also relying on bundles, let me tell you something, man. you've got a really good recipe for success when it comes to that, really. And it's a really good way to win fans over. And with all due respect to what they do in terms of, giving people login bonuses, that is definitely a step in the right direction. But at the same time, you got to go beyond that and give reason for people to want to come back. There's multiple reasons now in the year 2024 that you got to give people to come back. And with that being said, those are just a few tips and a couple of things that I had in mind. But in terms of Steam, the game, it's all about timing. And I think season 3 at the soonest would be great timing because, again, you don't want to lose those people that end up downloading and installing your game because they're bored and because there's no reason for them to come back and there's nothing for them to do. By season 3, we should be getting all that stuff, as well as the features and settings that belong in a first-person shooter in the year 2024. So hopefully that'll be it. I hope that somewhere in the behind the scenes, between discussions between the Ubisoft executives and the executive producers and the devs and all that kind of stuff, hopefully there's a discussion in terms of, okay, we've decided to release on Steam, but the question is when. I would say at the earliest season 3 and at the very latest season 4, if we make it to season 4 and if those rumors are not true. So with that being said, I want to know down in the comment section what you guys think of this, and if there's any ideas in terms of how you can, like, how you would handle it in terms of being released on Steam, in terms of when, as well as things in the store and all that kind of stuff. You guys can let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so very much for taking the time to watch and or listen. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.